Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we got another tier list. Now, this tier list is gonna be bad habits. Now, not any bad habits. These are gonna be bad habits that keep you broke. Now, when I say broke, I'm not talking only financially. I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, life-wise, whatever it might be. These are just bad habits that are draining, that are gonna keep you broke. So, look, S tier, we got ultimate killers, right? Of finances, whatever it might be. A tier, these are going to be your damaging habits. B tier, these are just like draining, kind of mid-road, habits. C tier, these are going to be the sneaky ones that you don't really think about too often. D tier are going to be, you can kind of easily fix these habits. So let's get into the video. Let's start breaking down some of these habits and go one by one. Okay, habit number 1. This is going to be avoiding discomfort. Now, what I mean by this is if you are someone that has the habit of avoiding discomfort, you like to be comfortable 24/7. You don't like change. You don't like certain things because it puts you in an uncomfortable spot. In my opinion, that is a bad habit. Now, if you have a great life and your life's set up to where you can be super comfortable, that's one thing. But if something's got to change and you're too scared to make a change because it's going to make you uncomfortable, we all got to get past that at a certain point, right? Like in my situation right now, I'm potentially moving, across America for a job that's going to put me in a really uncomfortable spot. But I got to embrace it. I got to move up my career ladder. I got to move up my financial ladder. And that's the opportunity that's presented itself to me. So I got to embrace the discomfort. So if you are someone that goes out of their way to avoid discomfort, I do think it's a bad habit. Now, I don't think it's super detrimental. And like most of these habits are going to be, these are going to be very situation based. Person to person is going to have a different viewpoint on this. So I think avoiding discomfort, in my opinion, is kind of a mid-road bad habit. I don't think it's is going to kill anything, it's going to make you broke or anything like that, but I do think some people could embrace discomfort a little bit more to make a change in their life. The next bad habit is the habit of keeping bad influences around. I'm sure you guys have heard that saying where it's like, show me your 5 friends and I'll tell you who you are. That rings pretty true. I'm sure you guys can think of people around you that act like they're friends or act a certain way because of the bad influences around them. We've all come across bad influences in our life. And, if you're someone that keeps these people around for whatever reason it might be, maybe it's time to audit. Maybe it's time to think about who you actually keep around because, if you keep around, especially people who are always talking about how they're broke and how we're broke and how the system's against us, that's never going to make you feel good. You're never going to feel good keeping those people around. And if anything, it's going to hold you back a little bit. Now, I'm not telling you, to cut off your friends tomorrow and ghost everybody, but your circle matters, and if your friends are reckless with money or reckless with habits or into addictions and it's holding you back, maybe it's time for a change. You know what I'm saying? So I think bad habits or bad influences, this can fall anywhere on the list for most people, but I'd say, from what I've seen, I think bad habits is an ultimate killer. Whether it comes to your finances, your emotions, whatever it might be, if you keep bad influences around, it usually never ends up good. So audit those people, audit your friendships, and learn to live, live according to your means and not what other people have to say. Okay, the next habit is chasing discounts. Now, what I mean by this is like if you get stuck in the habit of just impulse buying stuff, and I know that's later down the list, but like if you get stuck in the habit of just buying stuff because it's on discount, that's a problem. Because let's be honest, especially if like Amazon, bro, everything's on like discount always. Like you can find deals that are always on like 50% discount, 40% discount. And now here's my caveat with this one. When it comes to certain things, if you know you're going to buy it, I don't mind locking in a discount. Like if you know you're going to buy a certain service or a certain item and it's only on sale for a limited time, lock in the discount if you can. But if you're just literally buying stuff because you're like, 50% off, let me buy it, when you don't actually need it, that's a bad habit. You know what I'm saying? So I think this one is kind of like one of those sneaky bad habits where it's not super detrimental to your finances. It definitely can be, but just be careful. Like if you're just buying stuff because you see a shiny discount, maybe really think about if you want that product. But then again, I'm definitely all for someone buying something if they know they are going to buy it at some point in life and they can lock in a 20 to 30% discount, because then you're saving money if you know you're going to buy it. The next bad habit is not paying off high interest debt. Now, the reason I'm calling this a bad habit is because we're all very aware of debt, right? We all know about credit cards, we all understand debt, but high interest debt in particular is something that is just getting out of control. Like, there's some, there's people financing car loans at 15% interest. There's some people with 35% interest credit cards. And it gets to the point where it's like, dude, it's not even worth it financing at that point. Like, I would just rather not have that item at all, because having high interest debt like that is like, man, it's a snowball that you will never, ever be able to pay off. You know what I'm saying? So it gets to the point where, look, in my opinion nowadays, anything over like 20% interest is basically like a financial trap, right? Anything over 20% interest, you should be hyper focused on paying that off, because it gets to the point where, man, if you have a credit card with over 20% interest on it and you got like $10,000 on it, man, that is going to keep you broke. Like, that is an ultimate killer right there. That will keep you broke for a long time if you do not focus on paying that off. So high interest debt and stuff like that, you got to focus on paying that off. It's a bad habit to keep that stuff around. Get it out of your finances and you will start to see your net worth just skyrocket after that. Next is comparing yourself on social media. The bad habit of comparing yourself to others, whether it's on social media or in life in general. I used to do this. This is a big reason I stopped using social media, is because I'd always compare myself to older guys or younger guys who had what I wanted, right? They had the fancy cars, they had the super nice houses, and I would start thinking, well, I'm a loser because I don't have those things. When in reality, dude, look, we're all on our own timeline. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people. It's a bad habit. There's no reason to compare yourself to other people, because everyone's on their own timeline. You don't even know if these people are actually affording these things, or it's rented, or whatever it might be. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors with half of these people. So there's no reason to compare yourself with other people, because everyone online is going to only flex the best things about their lives, right? Cars, vacations, designer clothing, whatever it might be. And you're going to let that pressure you. And you can let it pressure you one of two ways. You can let it pressure you mentally, and you start feeling bad about your life, or you can let it pressure you financially, and you start spending to keep up with the Joneses, and then it's just like, well, how do we get here? You know what I'm saying? So, look, behind the scenes, those lives aren't that flashy. Stop comparing yourself. This can be an ultimate killer, but I'd like to think that a lot of people catch this before it gets too bad. So I think this is just a damaging habit. Don't compare yourself to other people online. Don't compare yourself at all to other people. We're all different people. We're all on our own timeline. Just be happy with your life. Make the most of your life. Make the most of your situation. You'll feel 10 times better about everything if you do that. Next is bad addictions. This can be drugs. This can be gooning. This can be whatever it might be, right? This one honestly is bigger than money, right? When it comes to bad addictions, the habit of bad addictions, I mean, if you guys have struggled with this, it's awful, but bro, like, I know it's easier said than done to, like quitting or getting out of it, getting out of a certain situation. I know that's way easier said than done, but if you have a bad addiction, if it's draining your wallet or draining your energy, whatever it might be, bro, you got to work to get out of it. Use online resources, use local resources, whatever it might be, to get out of these bad addictions or bad habits, because if you can, it will change your life around. I've seen comments of people saying they were addicted to certain things, they got out of it, and they're a completely different person. And I feel like a lot of times people get into this mindset of like, they don't see a way out, but there's always a way out. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know the way out, but from what I've seen online, from how, what I've heard about other people, there's always a way out of these bad addictions. It might not be clear, the path might not be clear, but there's always a way out of getting out of these bad addictions. So I think this one, obvious S tier, ultimate killer of your finances, your emotions, your energy, whatever it might be. Learn to get out of these bad habits, learn to respect yourself. Once again, life will get better if you're able to do that. Next is going to be credit cards. Now, when I say credit cards, right, what I mean by this, I don't mean using credit cards. I'm referring to credit cards as in relying on credit cards for once, right? So whether that's vacations, furniture, the newest iPhone, if you're constantly using credit cards for once and things you don't need, you're literally just taking money away from your future self, and then insult to injury, you're paying interest on top of it. So look, I know people are always going to make the argument that like credit cards can be amazing. I get points, I get this incentive and that incentive, and my credit score is 850 because I'm at $10,000 in debt and I paid it off. I get all the arguments, right? But at the end of the day, the majority of people are not good at using credit cards, are not good at using credit, and not good at managing debt, right? That's the reality. If it was this easy, everyone would have an 850 credit score. But the problem is it's very hard to do that because a lot of people mess this up, right? So look, if you want to use credit cards, my go-to way to use credit cards, instead of using it for wants, not needs, is use it for like gas, right? I think that's the best way to use a credit card. Put your gas on a credit card, something you need, it's going to be reoccurring, and something easy to pay off, right? But if you have a bad habit of using credit cards for everything you want, it's just damaging. I don't want to call it an ultimate killer, but it's definitely damaging. And just man, if you can pay for it, use your money. Use your actual money, so you're not paying interest on credit cards, Next is the habit of doom scrolling. Now, this is not just wasted time, right? And once again, this is not gonna this could keep you broke financially, but this is more on the emotional kind of mental aspect of it. But look, if you're just stuck doom scrolling, right? The more you scroll, the more ads you're gonna see, the more buy now, pay later you're gonna see, the more pressure you're gonna feel, and the less time you actually spend improving yourself, right? So look, here's a simple formula for you guys, right? Hours gone doom scrolling equals opportunities gone, equals self-improvement gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you have a bad habit of doom scrolling, it's hard to break, because when you're doom scrolling, you don't even realize you're doom scrolling. You just realize 2 hours went by. You're like, oh crap, I just spent 2 hours on TikTok, right? And look, doom scrolling doesn't even have to be TikTok. It can be even YouTube. You just get stuck into this social media content absorption realm where it's 3 hours goes by, you've watched 40 YouTube videos, you've done nothing with your life. So I think this one, now some of you guys might disagree with me. I know this can be high on the list for a lot of people. I'm going to put this as an easy fix, right? And maybe this is just my mindset taking over. I think doom scrolling and social media addiction to a certain extent is an easy fix. And the reason I say this, right, is because I think if you guys can find one thing that you really enjoy that's not on social media, most of your appetite for doom scrolling will go away. Like for me, even creating this YouTube channel, which technically is social media, but I'm even working on a little side hustle right now with a SaaS product that has taken away all the time from doom scrolling or constant consumption, and it's just gotten rid of it. So I think this is an easy fix. In particular, if you can find something that you really enjoy to do, in doing, that's not on social media. I think you guys can fix this. I believe in you guys. Let's get rid of doom scrolling forever. Next is the habit of eating out. Now this one's hard. This is probably my biggest issue right now with my finances. I really like watching Keep Going. I'm sure if you guys watch my channel, you've probably heard of his channel. He's another small creator, and he just made a video where he tracked his eating out for a month, and it was over $800. Bro, if you're watching this video, I don't know if he watches my videos, you're not alone. It is so easy to overspend eating out, especially if you have a partner and you're paying for your partner's meals or something, or if you're door-dashing or whatever it might be. Man, eating out adds up. But it's one of those things that it's funny, because it's so easy to go to the store, to buy bulk groceries, and to cook. But no one does it, because you just get in this habit of eating out. You get lazy. You don't want to cook anymore. And man, eating out just becomes one of those things that's I think it's just a draining habit, right? It drains our finances, but we can all fix it. Meal prep. I don't want to say it's an easy fix, because I'm not going to lie, this is a pretty hard fix. I've tried fixing this one, and this is one that I still struggle with to this day. But eating out definitely adds up, and definitely can keep you broke to a certain extent, or can just tie up a lot of your money that could go elsewhere. So try not to eat out as much. Plus, it's just not as healthy. You can cook way healthier meals at home, but it is way easier said than done. Okay, so next one, I put ego. But what I mean by ego is some people have a bad habit of letting pride drive their decisions, right? So you guys can probably think of someone, in your life that I'm talking about. But this is that person that refuses to downsize, refuses to not drive a nice car, refuses to drive a used car, refuses to get roommates, refuses to do anything, because it's I'm too prideful, right? Like I'm too cool. I don't know what the word is to describe it. They have too much of an ego to downsize, to, wear clothes from Walmart, right? Like, like for example, I work a corporate job, right? I just bought 2 shirts online on Amazon for like $14, right? But there's people out there that like, God forbid they buy shirts on Amazon. It's like, no, I gotta have like designer clothing, right? So it's like that ego gets in the way, or those people that like, I won't, I can't live in a 1-bedroom apartment because you know what I'm talking about, bro. Like there's people like this, and it's bad, like people who live like this and let their pride drive their decision making, especially when it comes to their finances. Those people are usually in terrible financial positions, and honestly could be in way better financial positions if they didn't let their ego get in the way. So I think this is a damaging habit. If you know somebody like this, or potentially if you are somebody like this, man, don't let your pride get in the way. It's almost like how I said about comparing yourself. These kind of go hand in hand, where it's like, man, if you just don't compare yourself to other people and just live your life and put your ego to the side, you can make some pretty incredible financial moves because you stop listening to all the noise around you. All right, look, I know a lot of these bad habits when it comes to finances have revolved around credit cards and financing, but look, financing everything, and you guys are going to know what I'm talking about. It's pretty much buy now, pay later, but it's just too easy to finance things nowadays. People are financing sandwiches and groceries now, and like, I don't know where the miscommunication has come from, where people think like it's cool to not it's cool, but like people think it's okay to finance everything, but it's not. Just if you have the money, pay for it. You don't need to finance everything, right? We already finance so many things throughout our normal adult lives that we don't need to finance chips at Publix. I don't even know if you can do that, but if you can, that's awful. But my point is, we don't need to finance everything. Everything has become way too easy to finance. There's way too many financing options out there. If you have the money and you are buying something you can afford, just buy it. You don't need to finance everything. You don't need to use buy now, pay later. It looks enticing. It looks nice. You want to use it, but just don't use it, because it is a major financial trap. And I think financing everything has become, man, I don't know where I want to put this. I think this is just, I don't want to put it too high because I know not everyone does this, but it is definitely, I think it's draining. I think financing everything is a draining habit, and it's something that I hope we can make a change and kind of get away from the whole financing everything and buy now, pay later. But unfortunately, I just see it getting worse. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to be able to literally finance like everything that you come across in life, which is just a problem. That's not a good financial thing to go through. Okay, next on the list, this will keep you broke your whole life, and that's flex spending. This is the opposite of the person. Well, this is kind of on the same level of the person whose ego is getting in the way. But if you are buying things to impress other people, if you have a habit of buying things because you think your friends are going to care, or you think other people around you are going to care, let me tell you from firsthand experience, they're not, right? I've had very cool cars. I've had very nice clothes. I've had very nice things. The most you ever get is, oh, bro, that's cool, and then life goes on, right? Like, now, if you're buying nice things because you actually like nice things and you actually care about nice things, that's different. But if you are specifically buying things and flex spending, like cars or clothes, or going out on weekends and going to clubs and throwing money around for your friends just to look rich or to act cool, bro, it's all show. Don't do this. Like, this is such a bad habit. Those people have no wealth. Like, it gets to the point, like, this is the negative side about finances. When you get so wrapped up in caring about finances, you start realizing how stupid 90% of the things are that we do. And it's like, you think about people who like buy like a $300 shirt. I'm not going to say I've never done it. I'm not going to say I don't want to do it, but like, why? Like, you can invest it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's kind of the balance between fun and caring about finances, but don't flex spend. If you have a bad habit of doing this to impress other people, I'm telling you, you're not impressing anybody. This is an ultimate killer. Do not flex spend your money. It is going nowhere. Okay, next is impulse shopping. Now, this is different from chasing discounts. This is like bad. Impulse shopping, this can be on Amazon, TikTok shop. I don't know if Instagram has a shop, whatever it might be, right? If you're just like late night scrolling and buying things on TikTok shop, you got to stop doing this, right? And I'm not saying you guys do this, but if you know someone who does this, you got to tell them to stop doing this. Like, it's funny, like, I don't have TikTok, my girlfriend does, but she's shown me like these things on TikTok Shop, and I'm like, who buys this stuff? But then you check it, and it has like 10,000 sales in the last 24 hours. It's like, who is sitting there on TikTok, like TikTok Shop, just scrolling through TikTok Shop, buying, impulse shopping, buying things? I don't know who does this. If you do this, let me know in the comments why you do this. I will never understand it. But impulse shopping, this can go both ways. This can be an easy fix, or it can be an ultimate killer. I'm gonna put this in the draining habits, because especially when it comes to stupid like little miscellaneous items that people just impulse buy, it's like, stop doing this. This is a bad habit. We don't need to be doing this. Okay, next is the habit of lifestyle creep. Now, this is a bad habit. This is one that I struggled with. I'm sure this is one of those habits that I think out of all of them, I would say everyone at some point in their life comes across almost falling into this habit or doing this habit, where if you're not familiar with lifestyle creep, pretty simple. If you get paid more, you spend more money. That is lifestyle creep, right? You get a raise, you buy a new car. You get a raise, you upgrade this. You get a raise, you upgrade that. You don't save more, you don't invest more, you just spend more money. And it's easy because you have more money to spend. You have more liquidity, so you go and buy more, you buy new things. But this will creep up on you, and this will keep you broke for a very long time, right? So when you get a raise, save more money, invest more money. Don't just go spending it all, because that is lifestyle creep. You don't want to fall into that. You don't want your expenses to trace up with your pay. Lifestyle creep is an ultimate killer, especially if it's really bad. This can keep you broke for a very long time. Next is the habit of living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I know, I don't want to spark an argument with this. I get some people have certain unfortunate situations where, unfortunately they have to live paycheck to paycheck, right? I'm not saying living paycheck to paycheck is like something easy to get out of. But what I am saying is, I'd say about 50% of the people that live paycheck to paycheck are there because their own doing, right? It's not because they don't make enough money. It's not because they don't have a good job. It's because they simply do things that keep them living paycheck to paycheck. And that's where the habits come in, right? So this can be a lot of different things. This is kind of a broad one, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, the worst part is a car repair or a medical bill, any negative situation that happens in life, which, let's be honest, there's a lot of them. Your finances are wiped out, right? You can't afford it. And it's like living on the edge of a cliff, right? You don't want to do it. You don't want to be close to it. So this is one of those things that, once again, it's not really a habit. Some people are stuck in unfortunate situations, but if you are constantly making bad decisions that are keeping you paycheck to paycheck, this is a very damaging habit. So don't take that the wrong way. Take it as you will, but that's how I feel about it. Living paycheck to paycheck, the habits that go along with that are very damaging for yourself. Okay, this is a habit that I don't see talked about a lot, but this has to be like definitely up there, is minimum payments. What I mean by that is, I don't think I spelled minimum right, first of all, but regardless of that, it's only making the minimum payment on your credit cards. This is a terrible thing to do. If you guys actually look at your credit card statements, if you only make the minimum payments, your credit card won't be paid off until like 10 years from now. It's like, it is actually insane. This is something, now you guys might be smarter than me and you might have known this. I didn't know this until like a year ago. I don't really use credit cards that much, but I had like $1,000 on my Discover card, right? And my Discover card has like a 26% interest. I checked my statement. It said I wouldn't be paid off till 2040. That's 15 years from now. I was like, wait, what? I was so confused by that. I had to like do research on it. I'm like, wait, you're telling me if I pay only the minimum payments, I'm not going to pay this card off for 15 years? It's crazy, bro. Do not fall into this bad habit of only making the minimum payments. If you cannot pay off your credit card before the interest hits, do not buy whatever it is. And if you have to buy it, let's just say you make the purchase already, it's too far gone, hyper focus on paying this off, because making only the minimum payments, I was going to put in the A tier. I think that's an ultimate killer, bro. Don't do that. Don't only make the minimum payments. That's a bad idea. Next is the bad habit of negative self-talk. So I don't know if you guys do this. We've all done it at some point. I'm probably sure. But talking bad about yourself is never the way to go, right? Like you don't want to do this, right? And look, whether it's money habits, whether it's emotional habits, mental habits, whatever it might be, everything we do starts in our head first, right? If you start telling yourself, I'll never be good with money, I'll always be broke, the system's against me, the world's against me, life's against me, I hate my life, whatever it might be, right? Negative self-talk gets to a point where you start believing it, right? And if you start believing it, you're going to start living it, you're going to start living it. And that mindset kills growth, kills your personal growth, kills your mental growth, kills every type. Like, negative self-talk is so bad for you. I want to put this in the S tier too, but the S tier is getting kind of flooded. But man, it's so bad. I think, no, it's gotta be. I think negative self-talk's so bad because it gets to the point where it's like, you don't need to talk, even if you just don't, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, people fall into this trap of talking bad about themselves so much that it like depresses them when it's like you're doing it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So stop the negative talk. We're all living the best lives we can. We're all trying. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the best you can. So stop the negative talk. Your life will get better if you can do that. Next is the lack of discipline, right? Now, discipline is your foundation, right? If you have no routines, no follow through, no consistency, look, without any type of discipline, right? And I guess consistency and discipline kind of go hand in hand. Without any type of discipline or consistency, nothing is going to compound, right? Not money, not skills, not success. Absolutely nothing is going to compound, right? And look, there's days where it's hard to have discipline, right? Like, it is hard to have discipline. I struggle with it. There's times where it's hard to, wake up and be, proactive and be a go-getter. But it's one of those things that if you can build that habit of having discipline or that skill of having discipline, things will change a lot for you, right? Not just emotionally, but financially, mentally, physically, whatever it might be, right? So I think having no discipline is a draining habit. You could put it higher, but I think on a day-to-day basis, it is hard to have discipline on a day-to-day basis. I think it's something that everyone struggles with. So if you can, get into the habit or get the skill of increasing your discipline and get out of the habit or out of the skill of having no discipline, I think you can start to see a lot change for you in a positive way. Okay, so this one kind of goes hand in hand with avoiding discomfort, but if you have a habit or a bad habit of not learning new skills, you are literally capping yourself at every part of life. Literally everything. Financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it might be, right? Like, your income is usually tied to your skills. Your emotions are usually, tied to your mental skills, whatever it might be, right? So if you have a habit of just not learning new skills, like you're content, whatever it might be, you're holding yourself back a lot. Like, a lot of the times you're going to be holding yourself back, right? So I think, we all need to work on the habit of learning new skills, pushing ourselves to that goal. So if, like I said, if you just have a habit of never wanting to learn new skills, never wanting to improve, you're just capping your growth. And I honestly think I'm going to put this one in the meh easy fix, right? And the reason I say that is because I think learning new skills is pretty easy. We have so much at our disposal now to learn new skills. You can go on the internet, sign up for free courses, watch free YouTube videos on learning new skills. And, if you can quit doom scrolling, right? If you can fix the doom scrolling with learning a new skill, boom, that's two birds with one stone right there. So I think not learning new skills is in the may category because I think it is an easy fix. Just there's so much at our disposal. There's so many tools we can have now to learn new skills. Next is the habit of procrastinating. Now, we can procrastinate a lot of things, but I'm going to specifically talk about procrastinating on investing. If you are watching this video and you are in your later teens, your early 20s, your early 30s, honestly, whatever point you are in life, if you are not investing, now I know most of my viewers are pretty invested. They are good about being on top of their investments. They're good about dollar cost averaging, but if you are procrastinating on investing for some reason, you have to get your money in the market, right? The whole reason the stock market is a well-oiled machine is because inflation exists. And inflation, if you guys don't know this, is never going to go away. Inflation's always going to happen. That way, the stock market is always going to happen, or is always going to go up, right? And look, this can be a broad category. I'm not telling you guys to go start investing into individual stocks and stock picking, but if you can pick a stock that tracks the S&P 500, put your money there, stop procrastinating. This will get you in a very good spot. Now, this one, I'm also going to put this in the may, it's an easy fix, right? Because here's the thing. It is so easy nowadays to start investing. You guys can open up an investment account on Fidelity, on T. Rowe Price, on whatever it might be, on Robinhood, Webull, in like 20 minutes, transfer some money from your bank account and buy some VU instantly. Like, it is so easy to start investing. You guys need to start investing, especially at a young age, because your money is going to grow, it's going to expand, it's going to get you to financial freedom. Most rich people invest. I like following what rich people do. Most rich people invest. So I think this is an easy fix, especially with, once again, like learning new skills. How many tools we have around us. You got to get your money in the market. You got to start investing. It's super easy to open an account. It's super easy to get your money in the market and start investing. Next is the bad habit of not tracking your finances or expenses. Now look, I know there's people out there, I was one of them, where I'm very analytical, I'm very data driven, and I used to tell myself, I'm doing pretty good, I don't need to track my finances. Why would I need to track my finances? I'm in a good situation. The thing is this, you got to humble yourself. It is so easy to go online and to, export your bank statements into an Excel spreadsheet or into a Google sheet, whatever it might be. And looking at your expenses from a high level view, it puts everything into perspective. You'll see patterns start to emerge. You'll see, certain places start to show up more than others. And it'll make it so much easier to cut out certain things, to add certain things, and just get a full grasp on your finances. So I think not tracking your expenses is definitely a sneaky bad habit, because not a lot of people think of it as a bad habit. But in my opinion, it is. I think everyone needs to be tracking their finances to a certain extent, because it will make viewing and understanding how your financial situation is way easier. And lastly on the list, we have small purchases. Now, this is the bad habit of letting those small purchases really rack up, right? A lot of the times, and this can be anything. This can be like snacks, your daily coffee. It's those things that people like to fight, saying, "Oh, it's only $5," or it's only $3. But when you're spending quote unquote only $5 every single day, man, that really adds up. Or when you're only spending only $3, 5 times a week, that's $15 a week. That adds up, right? So those small purchases, they really start to add up over time, right? The $2 apps, whatever it might be, on a micro level by themselves, they're not going to hurt you. But when you start adding in the small purchases daily, the subscription services, whatever it might be, they're slowly going to eat into your budget. And filling that budget back up when you have multiple small purchases going out on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So small purchases, in my opinion, this is just a draining habit. If you are one to have that bad habit of consistently buying small little purchases, this will slowly eat away into your budget and make it very hard to manage and keep up with your finances. And that's my tier list. I know some of these aren't really like financial habits, but I definitely think these are all bad habits that we all kind of, I would say most people fall into or at least struggle with at some point in their life. So if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Let me know where you would place some things. If you guys have other bad habits that I'm missing, let me know in the comments, because I'm sure I'm missing a few. This tier list could probably be way longer. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good day. Stay positive, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.